-1 underneath, -2 outside was down. Okay, we had a -3 up here, and that made it move right 3. So what's -1 inside going to do? Right 1. Okay, let's just do our little sketch here. Okay, just basic X and Y axis. Reflecting the X axis. Okay, so normally it starts and goes like this. Okay, starts here, goes here. If it's reflecting, it's going to reflect down. So it's going to come down underneath here. Okay, and it's a V stretch by 2, so it's going to get kind of wider, not so flat. And we said right 1, so it's going to start here. Going to look kind of like this. Okay, again, it's just a real basic sketch, but it flips down because when it's not flipped down, it looks like this. Okay, it moves right 1, and it's not so flat because it V stretched it up like that. Okay, so now we're going to list our domain and range. Okay, domain starts where? Right, starts at 1, right? It moved right 1, so it's going to be greater than or equal to 1. And here's one you have to pay attention to, okay? Because up here, range went upward, right? It went up. It's going above the x-axis. This one, it's going down, okay? So upward, above 4, was greater than or equal to 4. This one is still at 0. It's still on the x-axis, but it goes downward. So that needs to be y is less than or equal to 0, because it's y, because this is -1, -2, -3. It's all negative numbers on the y-axis, nothing positive. Okay, and that's because it flipped downward, so we had to pay attention to that reflection. Okay, that affected our range here. Okay. Let's see, number 6. Okay, my f of x equals the cube root of x, and my g of x equals the cube root of -8x. Okay, a couple different things that we haven't seen on today's notes yet. Negative, but it's not out front, it's underneath. What happens when it's underneath there? Okay, that's a reflection in the y-axis. Right, and the 8, it's not like this 2. This 2 is outside. That was a vertical stretch. Since it's underneath, remember that's going to be horizontal, and horizontal is the funky one, okay? It's going to be horizontal shrink by what? Not by 8, but by 1/8. Remember, horizontal is the one where you got to flip the fraction. Okay, it's just kind of funky. So horizontal shrink by 1/8. Okay, so when I do my little sketch over here, just do my x and y axis, it normally would go up and like this. Okay, cube roots go like this, like a little flattened S. Okay, but if it's going to reflect in the y-axis, it's going to go across. Okay, it will look like this one because when an S like that reflects across, this side points this way, this side points this way. And it's horizontal shrink, so it's going to be really flat. Okay, it's going to look like that. Okay, real flat because it did a horizontal shrink. Sorry, horizontal shrink should be like this. Okay, I said that it should be really flat. It should smush it inward, so maybe not so flat. Okay, let's look and see. Math 4, right, -8x. Okay, I'm going to graph it. Not quite as flat as I said, all right, but still 1/8 is not that much, so it'll be pretty flat. Looks pretty close to what I said. Okay, and what's the domain? Anytime that it's a cube root. What's the range anytime it's a cube root? All real numbers. Okay, all real numbers on both of those. All right, number 7. Okay, this is just a different way of presenting it, but it still means exactly the same thing. Okay, if they say x to the 1/2, okay, and this says g of x equals 1/4 -x to to the 1/2. Okay, remember, first I'll let you write this down. But remember, rational exponents are the same as radicals, okay? This number on the bottom, that would be your n, that would be the root, and this would be your exponent. So this is really the same as 2x to the 1 power, okay? So it's exactly the same as this. It's just a different way of saying it. X to the 1/2 is the square root of x, okay? So it's still just going to be exactly the same. It's just a different way of saying it. Whereas this would be the same as saying 1/4 negative x, okay? Because again, this is the square root. This is to the 1 power. 1 power doesn't change anything, right? So just know to the 1/2 is the same thing as square root here. Okay, so let's see, what are my transformations? What's this 1/4 out front? Okay, it's a V shrink by 1/4. Okay, and a negative inside would go underneath the square root. Okay, we already had one right here on the last one. Okay, reflected in the y-axis. Okay, so let's see, we've got a D.